Hey, good day to you, good morning, and good afternoon. It's Mark again here at WeatherMan Plus. I do have a big update for y'all today. Matter of fact, I'm showing that we could have a very big problem. And if you've never been here before, hello, my name is Mark. I do upload every single day, just not Friday from sundown to Saturday from sundown. That's when I take my Sabbath. Matter of fact, I tried yesterday, but if you go to my community tab, you'll see that I do post updates there when I do have issues, informing y'all of what's going on. And I had a big problem yesterday and I could not make a video. But I am going to start posting those on my Twitter as well. So if you go to the links in the description, not only is there timestamps to help save you time so you can get to exactly what you want to see, but also my Twitter and my Facebook is in there so you can follow me so you can get updates whenever you're not on YouTube. But remember, I don't judge. So when you go to Facebook, don't look at my friends list because some of the people there, but I don't judge. I just inform. Now, not only am I showing that this thing is showing the same track that we had the other day when it showed a Cat 2 hurricane and Cat 1 intensifying to a Cat 2 towards Louisiana, I'm always showing that the season in our Atlantic is starting to ramp up. Well, this is my last video until I come back on Sunday morning. I will post updates on my Twitter and my community tab on my YouTube channel this afternoon as NOAA updates. I know y'all like to see NOAA confirming everything. Well, they are confirming that this thing is growing. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss an update this season. And make sure you hit that bell and click all so you get all uploads that I do send to you. Because YouTube is taking away the bell from a lot of my subs. They're even taking away their subscriptions. Now help me once again, guys, get this info out. Y'all been beautiful. God bless every single one of you. I do love y'all. Y'all been showing a lot of love. Got a lot of likes. So if you don't use social media, just hit that like button for me. Help get this information out. YouTube will share it and suggest it for you. Now the two videos I have for you today is precipitable water so you can see exactly what's going on with this system as it ramps up into our Gulf. The one on the very top shows you from the Euro. And the Euro has been steady for the last 48 hours and this is still going towards southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana. Now the Euro is showing that this is still going to the same spot for the last 48 hours now. And this is the same section that it showed the other day where it did intensify. And I am showing that it still has a very big chance to intensify again. And remember guys, this thing is north but mostly east side loaded. So if this thing's going towards Texas or Louisiana, it's going to affect Mississippi and Alabama also. Matter of fact, I'm showing it's going to affect the whole southeast. And the one right above my head is from GFS. It does show you exactly what GFS is picking up, and GFS is still showing that there will be a curve. Now that's mainly because there's a lot of dry air coming from the cold air. There's a lot of dry air coming from the dust. High pressure squeezing it all together. It's all about timing, but there is a spot where it's going to open up and it's going to intensify. And I'm talking within 3 to 5 days. Not going to be far at all. Now, as we take a closer look at it, you can see that these storms are trying to explode to the west. You can see them right down here going westward. All right, that's what all this is, going west. And you can see also going from west to east that we have this shear. You can see the shear going from west to east, storms going from east to west, and it's just keeping it weak. It's keeping it in its place, but soon this will change and head north, and so will the system. Now, the latest update from NOAA as far as the Atlantic goes on, they're not showing anything expected within the next 5 days, but I guarantee that we're going to get a yellow section over here because we have a lot of strong storms brewing and they're going right underneath the dust. And if that keeps going, it will just follow the same path that these storms did, go right across South America, come out by Central America, and it could head for the Gyre or Western Caribbean again. Still too far, but it's already brewing. Now, our disturbance by the EPAC is still showing 50% chance of formation. I expect this to go up dramatically, guys. Matter of fact, it is early in the morning and they still showing last night's scale. So they just like too afraid to announce that this is getting closer, is getting stronger. They really wait till the last minute, if not a little late, to put the updates. You do see here that the environmental conditions do appear conducive for additional development and a tropical depression good form by this weekend, while the system drifts north to northeastward. So this thing is going towards the Yucatan right in this section. So we're going to have the cold air coming down. We got the wind shear coming down, but it's about to head north after this trough goes up. And we have the dust coming from the east, coming to the west. And this will push it back to the west, and it will suppress it again in the south of Gulf of Mexico. That's why I think the GFS is still showing that curve that's going towards Texas, but it's still showing from another day now. It's showing that it's going to go into Texas, and it could be a strong hurricane, and it's still going to come right back out and head right towards Louisiana, just like the other day. Now, this is where we're at as of this morning, and our surface low pressure is somewhere around this section, and it is headed towards the Yucatan. Now, another thing that's happening is we have a bunch of energy headed this way, we have energy headed this way, and we have energy headed this way from multiple storms that is firing up, and it's all going to come together right here next to the Yucatan. Plus, we have the storms firing off right off the MDR, and we have a couple storms. This first one looks like it's dying out, but this second one has a lot of moisture to it, and I think it will last through the dry air. It will make its way over to South America and go towards the Yucatan once again. And you see that we do have more storms coming off. This is the one with a lot of moisture, but if you look, you'll see a bunch of storms coming off. They're all beating off, but these down here are more southern. These down here have a better chance to make it across the MDR than these. Even though this one has a lot of moisture to it, this one, a lot of moisture, but it is not going to make it through the dry air and stay real strong. It will get real weak, if not die off. But these down here, making a more southern track, will make it underneath that dry dust, and it will go towards South America and get into EPAC. Now, this is your live feed, and you can see it is on its track headed towards north. It will make another western push, but it is expected to head right back to the east. And now they're calling this 93E invest, and it does show that it has been intensifying from 15 to 25 miles per hour winds, and expected to get up to 30 miles per hour winds by 1 a.m. tomorrow. And here's our system here, trying to make its way from the west, making its way east towards the Yucatan, and it is starting to get organized. If you look at it, you can see it is starting to group up. It's trying to create a surface low pressure, a closed low, as it moves over. It is dealing with a lot of wind shear, but this will make it over. The Central American Gyre is a big low pressure. So as long as it has the energy, it has the moisture, it has the lift, it will happen. And we do have dust coming in from Caribbean, but I'm also showing that this dust will break off. If you look at what we have for the last few shots, you can see our storm system trying to brew up over here, and the dust does pin it back to the west of the south of the Caribbean. But the heaviest part of the dust is staying in the center of the Gulf of Mexico and east, and it is staying on the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico while all this dissipates. So after it gets hit and pushed to the west of the Gulf of Mexico, it will get released from the dust and start heading north. Once that shear releases, there is a little trough, and it is causing a lot of wind shear, but it will go away. Now let's be serious about the Gulf of Mexico, guys. Y'all know how it is. Once it is at least 80 degrees, it can sustain those severe thunderstorms, and it will keep its rotation and grow. And if you look, see where it's coming from very warm waters. 87 degrees as it heads across towards the Yucatan. And when it gets into the south of the Gulf of Mexico, it's still 84 degrees. Almost all over Gulf of Mexico is 83 or 84 degrees. And when it gets towards land, 81 or 82. So it's still warm enough all the way through this track, because Euro's still showing it's going to go straight across. GFS is still showing that it will be a dip into Texas and rod across. It's ended up same area. The strengths are different, but it is taking the same path that I'm showing the other day. And if it does that, it will intensify. The dry air will be over in this region of the Gulf, so it'll have all this area to breathe. Plus, with these two high pressures, you know what happens when high pressures squeeze on low pressure. You've seen it before on our thunderstorms. It gets tight isobars, and it gets some very heavy winds. So these two pressures squeezing will elongate this, but it will help intensify it as well. Matter of fact, by Saturday, early AM Saturday, it does get a surface low pressure right across the Central America, right into the south of the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see it does get beat down on and off, becoming a closed low or not. It does move towards the Yucatan more, like they said. They said it will make a north and a northeast push. And then it keeps getting up, down, up, down. That's because that dust coming through is suffocating it. Then it starts making a western push, because all that is just pushing. It's high pressure, and it's just squeezing it to the western side of the Gulf of Mexico. And as it keeps going, you can see that it does start strengthening up. It starts getting its thunderstorms again. I'll show you the wind shear, but it gets released. The wind shear starts moving north. The surface low pressure closes up right around Wednesday, early morning, and it gets some very strong cloud tops. It gets over 50,000 feet high, so it is breathing very good as it goes through the Gulf of Mexico, and then it just starts strengthening and forming up with its strong storms. And as it gets towards Friday is when it's really going to be close. Friday is either going to do that western push from the high pressure expanding out. If y'all remember, I showed you how it expands out all the way towards Louisiana, but it does retract back. But as of Friday, it is still strengthening. Now it's at 54,000 feet cloud tops, so it is breathing very good. There's not dry air condensing this down, stopping it from breathing. It will stay strong. And you know, once something gets into our Gulf with warm enough waters, it will intensify. So I will stay close on this just to make sure. And you can see this here. This is according to our GOES 5 satellite. You can see the dry dust coming all the way from the Saharan Desert coming into our Caribbean, Western Caribbean. We get a surface closed low. And then it can't breathe for a while because the dust goes over and it suffocates it. And it suffocates it early. Because after that dust lifts up, and you can see where the system moves west into the Gulf of Mexico from this dust. Here's our rotating thunderstorms, and then as this dust moves in, it weakens it down, moves it to the western side of the Gulf of Mexico, and it pins it there, and it's going to stay there for a while. And when this trough moves away, which is going to do, all the wind shear, instead of going down, suppressing it down, is going to go up and it's going to weaken and give it a lot of room to breathe. And this dust is going to move to the eastern side of the Gulf, and this will have all the space it wants to roam. And you can see, according to NOAA, that from the 9th to the 15th, that we will have above average rainfall coming from the MDR and making its way towards the Caribbean. And then when it gets from the 16th to the 22nd, now it's showing a lot of heavy rainfall. In fact, that stands for weekly total rainfall in the upper third of the historical range. So this will be a lot of heavy rainfall, and it will be earlier than seasonally expected. Now, as we look at our velocity potential anomaly, see where there's any updraft, any convection going on with these systems. You see right here in between 120 and 60W, this is our Western Caribbean, our Gulf of Mexico, and we do have storms coming sometime around the 20th. It will intensify the 21st all the way through the 24th, and it'll be weakening on the 25th. But you can see we do have more coming. But I am showing no matter what, this is coming. This will intensify. It's just getting longer and longer. It moved real slow, and now it's getting dry air, it's getting wind shear. But it's in a place where it's just nothing but constant low pressure. So it's not going to die off. It has moisture. It has rotation. All it needs is a little bit more time, and it is coming. And if we look at the longer range models, you can see right around the 20th, here's our anomaly with another small anomaly possibility behind it around the 27th. But this right here, this is all the MDR section. You can see right after this, the MDR gets really lit up, guys. It really starts flaring up once we get to the end of this month. Now, I'll also show that within a few days, it could be an issue coming off Florida. Matter of fact, we have a surface low pressure coming down the southeast, and a lot of anomalies has been showing for a while that this could come down off of Florida and try and go out to the Atlantic Ocean as a system real quick. And as it does that, it could intensify for a moment and be a problem. I will stay on top of that for you. That's literally within a couple of days. If you look here in the cyclone ensembles, that you can see it does intensify, and that blue is down to a 980 and red is down to a 960. I want you to remember that because I'm showing the same things as we had the other day. And as you see it go towards the Yucatan, it will go weak, strong, weak, strong. It's fighting that wind shear, it's fighting the dry dust, but then it does get a chance to go forward. And there is a chance on the 16th for this to shoot out and get away. And a little sleeve area has a chance to shoot out and strengthen so far to a 980 over the Gulf. And this is by the 16th. And of course, the high pressure hits it, knocks it back. It goes back and forth, back and forth. They don't know what it wants to do. But there is something that has a chance to bobble around, and it does get real strong. So we need to watch that. And that's very early. That's starting on the 16th. And at the same time, this makes a push towards the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico, which I showed nothing really could form there at that point because it has a strong high pressure like I've been showing y'all. It does stretch all the way to Louisiana, and it does go cover the whole southeast. But the one in Yucatan starts headed north at that point, and it starts strengthening and headed towards Louisiana or Texas. Multiple ensembles are showing this will strengthen. So here's the SpaghettiOs. I love the SpaghettiOs. It lets you know what this system clearly look like. And you can see it getting down to 980 millibars. You also see as it makes its northward push on the 16th and 17th, it does intensify. That is 960 millibars. And if you keep watching, you'll see it will intensify again before it goes towards that Texas push. High pressure squeezes in, dry air affects it from the cold air, and it does make it bobble around the Gulf. But you can see it's more than just one anomaly. It does show multiple anomalies that it does give it a good chance for this to intensify as it goes towards Texas. And around the 20th and 21st is when we're showing that our potential velocity anomaly will pop up, and that's when this one pops up right on the 21st. And you'll see it does bobble around for a while, it intensifies, and it moves in towards Houston, Beaumont, Texas. I do show multiple anomalies that this system will intensify, and you know how our Gulf of Mexico is. This sounds about right. So when we follow the cyclone locations of what the millibar pressure could be, you see it could get all the way down to a 974 by the 17th. That's a very good possibility. And then I could carry on and strengthen all the way to 968 as it goes towards Texas, 977. And we saw that just yesterday. But you also could see that more than likely the surface low pressure will be in this general area, and it'll still be a good chance to be at 975 as this moves towards Texas, 976. And the one that bobbles around for a while, then heads in, does get down to a 977. So we have a lot of chances for this to become a very strong Cat 1, it may be a Cat 2 hurricane still. But I am showing that no matter what, there is a curve. If you look at this ensemble right here, you can see that it does go by the Yucatan. It does make its western curve and strengthen towards southeast Texas. And that seems to be where the location is for a lot of these. Also here, if you look at it, you'll see that it does go towards the Yucatan. It does curve west from the high pressure squeezing. Goes towards Houston, Texas, maybe a little more southern. Either way, I'm showing it there is a curve in multiple ensembles. And right here is that anomaly where it has that chance to go literally within 5 days, form up in the Gulf and go towards Florida as a weaker system and squeeze in before the high pressure squeezes in. So if you remember, we've been following that for a while, that has always been possible. If it gets in before the high pressure squeeze in, it has a chance for northern Florida, and after it relaxes, it has a chance for northern Florida. And also right here, if you watch, you can see that there is a good possibility for that next energy to follow the same path, Western Caribbean, get into the Gulf of Mexico and do a sharp western turn. So that one don't look promising as far as the states. It could be a big problem for Mexico and Central America. If it's already curving, it could curve even earlier and go right towards Nicaragua. And here's another anomaly right here showing you that right around the 17th, 18th, that it could form up a weak system towards northern Florida as it goes out into the Atlantic. And it could be along the East Coast with that problem. But as you look and see what the possibility for tropical depressions is, you see it has a great chance to grow within 5 days into a tropical depression as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico, western mostly push, 10 days, be all over Texas. And from 9 to 10 days, it looks like the best chances is still western Gulf of Mexico in this section towards western Louisiana, eastern Texas. Even when you check for tropical storm strength, it does show it has a good chance to become a tropical storm in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico and make a western push towards Texas. And this is by the 19th and the 20th. And the 20th looks like it's even stronger chance. So it does look like there will be an intensification period with this storm. Now this is a Euro model. Euro model has always been showing this trend for a minute now, and it's repeating itself. But I'm showing you this just so you can see that the high pressure does reach out into the Gulf of Mexico. The high pressure on the western side isn't all that huge. It does stretch all the way out, and it does block it for a good bit, but it's not as strong as the one that's in the Atlantic Ocean. Then as it moves up, you can see that this high pressure does reach out. It does block anything from forming over here as this moves up, and it keeps its block for the southeast. And that's according to the Euro. But the temperatures all the way from this point to this point is all 82, 83, and 84 degrees. So as far as this intensifying just 1 millibar, I see a lot more than that, because the wind shear in the trough does move away to the north, and it don't have a lot of shear. It has very weaker shear, so that just dropping 1 millibar don't seem right. And also, if you look at the GEM, the CMC model, you can see that it does make it by the 18th and form up something in the Gulf, and it does try and become a system. It gets down to 998, and it heads in between what GFS and Euro is showing. It's showing it will be somewhat a Texas landfall and not a Louisiana, but however, if this was to play out, Louisiana, Mississippi, y'all still need to worry about this, because this is going to be east side loaded. So wherever this system is going to be, all the winds, most of the winds, and all the rain is going to be on this side of the storm. So if it does head for southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana, all this section here is in danger for heavy winds and flooding. Now here's the Euro again, so I can show you. It does show that by the 16th that it actually will create a surface low, and it will become a closed low and start moving to the west northwest of the Gulf of Mexico. It does get elongated, so that's the high pressures stretching it out, but it does grow into a pretty big field. And once again, for a system to go through very warm temperatures, all over here is 83, 84, and 85 degrees. All up here is 82, 83, and even 84 in the center of the Gulf of Mexico. So going through 82, 83, and 84 degrees, for this just to drop 1 or 2 millibars, or 4, and still a 1002, that's just unbelievable. That Gulf of Mexico, we all know how it is. Something's going to get even stronger in this thing. I know that the model guidance isn't showing it strengthening, but you did see it strengthening on the same path that I showed in the last video. Once again, I will put that up in the top corner. But this is not about model guidance, guys. This is common sense. All the shear is going to be going up on the north at this point. All the dry air and the high pressures over here. So it has all this area to breathe. It's in the well 80s, and it's just common sense. We all know that when we get a system in the Gulf of Mexico, the shear is away, the dry air is away, and it's warm temperatures, this will intensify. Matter of fact, you can see here the video that I put out the other day that it showed the same path going over to southeast Texas, southern Louisiana, and it showed it at 976. It showed that it did intensify. So I'm showing we still have the same possibilities as that video. And that showed the intensification to a Cat 2 hurricane all the way to Mississippi before it went down to a Cat 1. But so far, according to the GFS, as of today's run, it has it on the 17th, forming up a closed low into the Gulf of Mexico, and it moves and strengthens, which is a little more believable in the Gulf of Mexico. It strengthens down to 994, 992, 991, goes towards Texas. It gets a lot of dry air, not at the 850 millibar level. It's very light, as well as that dust. It comes early and suppresses it. Then it hangs around the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico, so it don't stop this. Dry air gets around at 500 millibar level, stops it from breathing. The high pressure expands out. It gets down to 989, same location that we saw the other day. And just like the other day, it comes back out from Texas and heads back towards Louisiana. That's the same track that we saw in the other video. Now here's the humidity, so you can see at the 850 millibar level as all this moisture moves over. The dust is all on the east side, and it is real light. The heaviness stays far. I'll show you that. But as you can see at the 850 millibar level, the dust does not get in and intertwine in this system. If anything, it's very light amounts. It's not enough to choke it off and stop it. Then the light dust still stays on the eastern side of the Gulf while this moves away. Then heavy dust comes in a little bit and starts doing a little something in the Gulf. So the dust, or heavy dust, is early, it suppresses it, and it comes late. So I don't show that the dust is really going to play a big part of this factor. Now here you go at the 500 millibar level. This is after your cold air comes down. This is on the 17th. And you can see how the dust moves to the east over here. But you can see also the cold air, the cold dry air, does get intertwined at the 500 millibar level. And then the high pressures expands out on the west, and it moves it over towards the east, because high pressure is always boss. Now here's a better look, so you can see at the 500 millibar level what exactly happens. This is right around the 16th. You got your cold air anomaly coming down into the southeast, and that cold air is bringing a lot of dry air. It stays around towards Texas as the system moves north through the Gulf of Mexico. The dry air from the dust particles stays on the eastern side of the Gulf and don't make it into this system. However, the dry air at the 500 millibar level does get intertwined into the system, and that is all high pressure. So as soon as that high pressure expands, it moves it to the east, and it can't go any further to the west of Texas, and it pushes it all the way out. So according to what your wind gust could be, let's go with the GFS. And it does get a lot of wind gusts intertwined with this. It gets all the way up to 80 right there. It gets very high, and look how expanded out all these winds will be. The rain will be there, expanded out big time like this as well. It goes towards Texas for the 19th, already feeling the winds. Then it goes even closer. You get over 88 miles per hour wind gusts as it goes even closer towards Texas. And then time you get to the 20th and the 21st, it starts coming out and moving towards Louisiana. But the whole time for days, you got all the rain, you got all that wind happening, and then it goes towards Louisiana and the east side loaded. So wherever the center is, all the worst of it is going to be on the east side of this storm as it crosses over Mississippi and moves to the Alabama in the mid-Atlantic. So here's the best I can do for you for timing. That's why I put a cone in the thumbnail so you can see that right around the 18th, you're going to start getting some wind gusts. You're going to start getting it for Galveston for sure, and it will pick up as you go through the 19th to a lot of wind gusts. Then it gets even worse as you get towards the 20th with this storm, as it just spins there for a couple of days and then move towards Louisiana. And then for Louisiana, right around June 21st, if you remember, that's when we had that big anomaly. It gets over 40 miles per hour wind gusts as it moves through Louisiana, according to this run, as it goes through Mississippi, Alabama. And then you see the best shot here. It goes through Louisiana, so it's east side loaded, so southeast Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, even North Carolina will be affected by these winds and rain. Here's your view for the Mid-Atlantic, and remember, if this does intensify, these winds will be worse. As it moves over South Carolina and North Carolina, maybe affect Delaware, southern New Jersey, and southeast Maryland as it moves away. And so far on this track, on this run, we have it over 16 inches for Houston, Texas. We have 15 inches Lake Jackson, Galveston 12 inches, Beaumont another 13 inches. Lake Charles another 10 inches possibility or more if this intensifies. I am sorry. As it goes across Louisiana, Mississippi, you can see the numbers. Lafayette, Baton Rouge 6 inches, Houma 8. West Gulfport, Mississippi, and Hattiesburg, 8 to 13 inches. It looks like a lot of it stays offshore on that point. A lot of heavy flooding, a lot of heavy rainfall coming, guys. Panhandle of Florida, Mobile, 10 inches. Monroeville, 10 inches. As it goes across Alabama, Birmingham, 8 inches. All the way to Georgia. And Marietta could get 5 inches. Dalton, 7 inches. And this will change. I expect this to intensify and be worse, guys. Then the eastern Tennessee, Knoxville, possibility for over 3 inches. Greenville, South Carolina, upstate, over 3 inches. And so far, this is the only pocket for Georgia, South Carolina, and parts of southern North Carolina where they won't get as much rainfall as everybody else because this system moving up a little higher puts the rain right here. If it would lower down, it would put all the rain right here. So this could move. We need to stay updated on this. And for Florida, not only Pensacola Heights 8 inches, Panama City 7 inches, Tallahassee 4, and Jacksonville a possibility for over 4 inches. And I can't stress this enough, guys. If this does move just a little bit further to the east in the Gulf, all this rain is going to shift east, and all these heavy numbers is going to be all over this way. And this will change as we update, guys. And matter of fact, I wanted to wait until the end of the recording so I can have another update for you. And the latest update from Tropical Tidbits is out, and it does show a disorganized flow of storms. And if you check this again later on this afternoon, it will show that other anomaly. So this is going back and forth. I just want you to see all possibilities. But it does have a good chance to be coming on land towards Louisiana, and all the storms and the winds will be east side of it, and it'll be Alabama, Mississippi as this moves on. So I do see a weakening phase. We all need to see exactly what's going on with this dry air, these high pressures, the cold air, and the dust. We need to stay on top of this because this could sneak in and be a very big nightmare. Now, this is an AM3K. I'm going to show you the next 60 hours because you have a big storm coming from the northwest. You have a lot of storms in the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. And you have some bad storms coming from the Midwest going to the central U.S. Now, if you've never been here before, please go to my video yesterday. I'm not telling you to watch the video. Go in the description. It does have a link that says special message. Please click on the timestamp next to that. I want you to see that special message I put out for you in my last video. But it's Friday, guys. Yay! We made it. It is Friday. School should be out already for all y'all. It's been out for my kids for a while. And no work, guys. It's Friday. So amen to that. Let me play this for you so y'all can see this nasty weather that is coming within the next 2.5 days. God bless all of y'all dealing with all this. At the same time, I want to speak a word from our Father. A very important word that is pretty right for these times. Please, if this helped you, just hit the like button. Help another, please. If you do use social media, please share it on there. Revelations 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and there were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burned up, and all green grass was burned up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And as it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as a third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound. Amen. Thank you for visiting my channel today, guys. Thank you for all your support that y'all have been giving me. I do feel y'all love. Thank you so much. If you hit that like one more time, I do appreciate it. God bless you all. May you have a very blessed, a very safe Friday and Saturday. All glory does go to the Yahweh, God of Jacob, Jesus' Father, and our Father. Amen. Hallelujah, guys. Have a very blessed day. If you're new here, please go see that special message yesterday. Timestamp is in the description of the video. Thank you once again.